There are moments on a concert stage that feel bigger than the performance itself. The lights come on, thousands of voices rise together, the music begins, and suddenly an artist can transform an ordinary night into something that fans remember for years. In Chicago, that feeling appeared once again when Jimin stepped onto the stage. What happened during his performance quickly became a major topic among ARMY. Fans were not simply talking about the choreography, the vocals, the visuals, or the energy coming from the stage. They were asking a much more intriguing question. Why did Jimin look so different on this particular night? Why did his performance feel so powerful? And was there actually a secret behind the way he delivered every movement, every expression, and every interaction with the audience? As clips from the performance circulated among fans, ARMY began examining the smallest details. A change in expression here, a slightly different movement there, the way Jimin controlled his body during the choreography, the way he looked toward different sections of the stadium. Even the timing of his gestures became something fans wanted to analyze. For many fans, it was not simply another concert performance. It felt like Jimin had discovered another level of stage presence. And that is where the story becomes fascinating. The biggest reaction did not necessarily come from one spectacular move. Instead, it came from the combination of countless small details that made the entire performance feel unusually complete. Jimin has always been known for his ability to communicate through movement. His dancing is not based solely on technical precision. There is an emotional quality in the way he performs. A simple hand gesture can feel deliberate. A turn of the head can become part of the storytelling. A change in facial expression can completely alter the atmosphere of a performance. In Chicago, ARMY noticed those qualities immediately. Fans watching from the audience described an atmosphere that seemed to grow stronger as the performance continued. Rather than simply performing the choreography from beginning to end, Jimin appeared to use the entire stage as a space for communication. That distinction is important. A performer can execute choreography perfectly and still leave the audience emotionally disconnected. Jimin's strength has often been his ability to make choreography feel personal. He does not simply move because the music tells him to move. He makes the movement appear to belong to him. Over the years, Jimin has developed an increasingly distinctive relationship with the stage. Earlier in his career, viewers could already see his remarkable dance ability. But experience changes a performer. Every tour adds new lessons. Every audience teaches something different. Every performance creates another opportunity to understand how to control a massive crowd. And Chicago appeared to bring out a particularly confident version of Jimin. He seemed comfortable allowing moments to breathe. He did not need to rush from one movement to another. He could hold an expression for an extra second. He could pause. He could look into the audience. He could allow the crowd's reaction to become part of the performance. For ARMY, those details mattered. Because when an artist performs in front of thousands of people, confidence is not always about making the biggest movement. Sometimes confidence is knowing exactly when not to move. That kind of control can completely change the energy of a performance. And Jimin appeared to understand it. Fans began pointing out how naturally he transitioned between intense choreography and quieter moments. One moment he could deliver an explosive dance sequence, and moments later his expression could become softer, creating an entirely different emotional atmosphere. That contrast has always been one of his greatest strengths. It is also one of the reasons his performances are so easy to remember. But ARMY's discussion went even deeper. Many fans suggested that the so-called secret behind Jimin's spectacular Chicago performance was not a single trick at all. Instead, it was preparation. Behind every few minutes on stage are countless hours that the audience never sees. Rehearsals, dance practice, vocal preparation, physical conditioning, costume fittings, stage blocking, camera rehearsals, travel, rest management, and repeated practice until movements become instinctive. When viewers see Jimin perform a complicated sequence effortlessly, they may only see the final result. They do not see the repetition that made that result possible. A movement that looks effortless can require hundreds of repetitions. A facial expression that appears spontaneous can come from years of learning how to interpret music. A perfectly timed interaction with the crowd can come from experience understanding exactly how a stadium responds. This is why Army's theory about Jimin's secret became so interesting. Perhaps there was no mysterious hidden formula. Perhaps the secret was the discipline behind the scenes. The more fans examined the performance, the more obvious that possibility became. Jimin's performance did not look powerful because he was trying to prove something. It looked powerful because he appeared prepared enough to stop worrying about proving anything. That is a very different level of performance. When an artist is uncertain, the audience can often feel it. When an artist is confident, the audience feels that too. In Chicago, Jimin appeared to be completely immersed in the moment. His attention seemed focused on the music, the choreography, and the audience. And once a performer reaches that state, something special happens. The performance stops looking like a sequence of rehearsed movements. It begins to look alive. That is exactly what many Army members were discussing after seeing the Chicago footage. Some fans focused on his dancing. Others focused on his expressions. Some highlighted his vocals. Others talked about his interaction with the audience. But all of those observations led back to the same conclusion. Jimin knows how to make a stage feel intimate, even when the venue is enormous. Chicago is a city known for its powerful atmosphere, and performing there presents a unique challenge. A large stadium audience can create incredible energy, but that same scale can make the performer appear physically distant from individual fans. Jimin has a way of reducing that distance. A look toward the crowd can feel intentional. A smile can trigger thousands of screams. A simple gesture can become a collective moment. This is where the emotional side of his performance becomes particularly important. Jimin does not perform only for the people closest to the stage. He performs for the entire room. He understands that a person sitting far away may not see every small movement clearly, but they can still feel the emotional energy coming from the stage. That requires projection. Not simply physical projection, but emotional projection. The performer must communicate through posture, expression, timing, and energy. Jimin has developed that ability over years of performing. And Chicago provided another example. There was also something else Army noticed: his ability to adapt to the atmosphere. Every concert audience is different. Some crowds are extremely loud from the first second. Others gradually become more energetic. Some audiences respond strongly to choreography. Others react more intensely to emotional moments. A great performer learns to read those differences. Rather than treating every concert as an identical routine, the performer allows the audience to influence the atmosphere. Jimin often appears especially responsive to crowd energy. When fans become louder, his expression can change. When the stadium erupts, he can smile. When a moment becomes emotional, his body language can soften. Those reactions make the audience feel involved. They create a feedback loop. The audience gives energy to the artist. The artist returns that energy. The audience becomes even louder. The artist becomes even more energized. And suddenly the entire stadium feels like one living organism. That may be one of the real secrets behind a spectacular concert. It is not only what happens on stage. It is the relationship between the stage and the people watching it. In Chicago, Army appeared to understand that relationship very clearly. The reaction to Jimin was not simply admiration. It was participation. Fans were singing, cheering, recording, dancing, calling his name, and responding to his every movement. The result was an atmosphere that amplified his performance. But there was another factor that made the moment particularly memorable: Jimin's ability to balance elegance with intensity. That balance is difficult. If a performer focuses entirely on power, the performance can become physically impressive but emotionally flat. If a performer focuses entirely on elegance, the performance can become beautiful but lack impact. Jimin often operates somewhere between those two extremes. His movements can be sharp and explosive, yet still appear controlled. His gestures can be delicate without appearing weak. His expressions can be subtle, but still visible to thousands of people. That combination creates a signature style. And it may explain why Army can recognize a Jimin performance even before knowing exactly what they are watching. There is a particular quality to the way he moves. The body follows the rhythm, but the emotion appears to lead the movement. That is why his dancing can feel almost cinematic. It tells a story, even when there are no words. Even when the audience does not consciously analyze every gesture. the emotional message still reaches them. This is one of the reasons dance experts and fans have repeatedly praised Jimin's stage presence. Technical skill can be measured. Emotional impact is harder to quantify. But audiences know when they feel something. And Chicago clearly felt something. The most fascinating part is that fans did not stop discussing the performance when the concert ended. They continued watching clips. They slowed down moments. They compared different angles. They shared favorite expressions. They talked about specific movements. They debated which moment was the strongest. This is how a concert performance becomes a cultural moment inside a fandom. The show ends. But the conversation continues. And once that conversation begins, every detail becomes part of the story. One fan might say that the key was Jimin's facial expressions. Another might say it was his dancing. Another might focus on his confidence. Another might point toward his connection with the crowd. And another might simply say that he looked completely happy on stage. Interestingly, all of those interpretations can be true at the same time. Because great performances are rarely created by one ingredient. They are created by a combination of skills working together. Jimin's dancing supports his expression. His expression supports the emotion. The emotion supports the connection with the audience. The audience's reaction gives him additional energy. And that energy feeds back into the performance. It becomes a cycle. The more connected the artist feels, the more connected the audience becomes. And the more connected the audience becomes, the more powerful the artist's performance can feel.